Shinichirō Watanabe's most iconic works are still spoken about and dissected till this very day. Not just for the stylistic visuals, sound and tone, but with how they tackle the nature of the human experience and the nihilism of existence, but in their own ways that differ from each other. Cowboy Bebop is constantly exploring the idea of attempting to bury the past, being numb to the present and not having it blur with the future. Spike's glass eye, Jet's broken watch, Faye's amnesia, Wen's body that doesn't age, it goes on and on. Samurai Champloo explores the idea of us all coming from very different beginnings but all ultimately on the same journey reaching the same end. At what point do we allow tradition to evolve with the current climate? Is it worth clinging to our origins? And now we have Lazarus. The name in itself being indicative of rising from the dead, explores these same sorts of ideas but on a more global scale, focusing less on the individual and more on society at large. In 2052, Dr. Skinner discovers a miracle drug known as Hapna. This drug has the ability to numb pain with zero side effects. It's happy pills on steroids, and naturally everyone becomes reliant, or dare I say, addicted to this new drug as it becomes commonplace. 3 years later, in 2055, Skinner announces that the drug has a 3-year half-life and soon, everyone who took it will die. And if mankind wants the cure, they have to track him down and find him. And so a task force is created to locate Skinner and create a vaccine. The task force is made up of 5 members, all with questionable criminal pasts, and are bound to these bracelets. And I think you guys have seen these bracelets or neck collars in enough fiction to know how they work, so yeah. The task force is named Lazarus. So are we some kinda Lazarus? Okay, sorry, the joke was cheap, I know. You guys should know the Watanabe formula by now. Each episode is more or less a self-contained romp with high action, fun and comedy, with the plot only mattering in the final few episodes, as the characters are constantly chasing leads that take them to a dead end, with each episode starting with them returning to the drawing board. Hang on, did I say high action, fun and comedy even though the world's ending? Well yeah, that's one of the things I found so interesting about this show. While most pieces of fiction will have the world go to absolute shit, with riots, looting and hell on earth, the world of Lazarus doesn't care. It's bored. It's just business as normal. People are going to their 9 to 5s, entertainment is still broadcasting, politicians are still scheming, life just goes on. Even I found myself forgetting that the world was ending at times since it isn't mentioned that often until the countdown appears at the end of each episode. Let me give you guys a quick anecdote. An old manager of mine was constantly stressed out and he made sure everybody knew it. One day he stopped coming into work for a few weeks. When he finally returned, he seemed a lot slower. Bottom line, he was prescribed happy pills. And that's how we deal with stress and negative emotions in this day and age. Well, some take pills, some drink, some smoke, some hit the marijuana, some snort, and it goes on and on. Most people have a vice that's a form of sedation. Do me a favor and check your screen time on your phone. Just curious. Are you a doom scroller? Do you use AI to write emails or autocorrect when you're sending a text message? We're on the verge of self-driving cars. Brain rot is a real thing. I've experienced it myself as we get more and more numb to life. Not that I'm trying to preach, just getting you to think about what Lazarus is trying to say, because that's where its world is. Society has just become so worn down that the common person doesn't even care about mankind's extinction. It's someone else's problem, they'll handle it, and if not, oh well. They're numb to their own demise, and this idea is showcased from episode to episode. We don't need or want to think. Let someone else do that for us. Let someone else do the hard work. And this is sprinkled throughout the show. The cults that worship an AI brain to make their decisions for them, the DJ that uses AI to make his music, the fact that our aloofness is killing the planet. Ultimately, I think what Skinner wanted to do was wake humanity up. Give them a reason to rise up and have some fighting spirit. This fighting spirit against that numbness is embodied in our main character Axel, as all the action scenes revolve around him. He can never sit still and just do nothing. In certain scenes where everyone else is trying to calculate and strategically infiltrate a location, he just goes in guns blazing. And that's when the show's at its most energetic, with loud bombastic instruments to accompany each high-octane scene. The characters of Lazarus initially start off as cold and distant with each other, but slowly over the course of the show they open up a lot more as they're thrown into life and death scenarios with each other. The sort of stuff that builds camaraderie, you know? Much less the business-like relationships you see in Watanabe's other works. Here they break that boundary in many ways. As Axel says, he spent most of his life not getting too attached to people. I am certainly guilty of just wanting to keep to myself, introverted gang rise up. I do like my introverted nature, but even I ponder from time to time how unhealthy it can be, and it could be argued that that's just another symptom of being in a post-COVID digital world. I was looking forward to watching this show, so I waited until all the episodes were released. I found it interesting to see how before the show was even halfway done, you already had people releasing videos about how disappointing the show is. And I can't help but feel you guys kind of proved the show's point. Like, you couldn't even wait for it to finish and see what the takeaway of it was before running to the internet to, entertain the algorithm. It's kind of funny in a way, life imitating art and all that. I'm not gonna act like the show's perfect. The dialogue is a little wonky at times, like there's a scene where a character says something along the lines of, Axel escaped like a bird, and then later on, you literally see him jumping into a group of birds. The visual metaphor would have been enough. You could easily get rid of this line from earlier. And the show has lots of moments like this, where it feels the need to outright say things as opposed to just letting you infer what you're seeing. And that's very unlike Watanabe. That's not his style, so I have to question it. Then again, the fall of media literacy and all that, so who knows. Maybe he just doesn't have faith in us anymore. The takeaway question the show asks is humanity worth saving as it currently is? I wonder, when I look back at Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, will we look back at Lazarus in the same light? Probably not, honestly, but that doesn't mean that it should be dismissed. At the very least, give it an honest watch. And let it be its own thing. Then again, 2052 isn't as far away as you might think, so who knows. The video's over. Soft spoilers for the ending. I really wanted to say this in the video, but the show is still fresh. But I just wanted to comment on how even the way that the show ends is a very life goes on sort of ending. Humanity almost went extinct, and it's as if nothing happened. It just really ties it all together perfectly. Sorry for that awkward placement.